If the Democrats get smushed in the midterms, are they ever going to stop and self-reflect and go, all right, maybe we should drop the men can get pregnant thing and have periods?
Maybe that was a little too far.
Something tells me that no matter how much they get their ass kicked,
they're still going to think men can get pregnant?
Keep plugging along, and it's only going to get worse.
Oh, it's just like I remember a time in 1992 where they said that essentially the wars are over when the Iron Curtain fell, communism's over, we don't have to worry about communism anymore, and all it did was it just changed its marketing brand. That's all, and just basically came back at us in another.
You think if Democrats get destroyed in the midterms, maybe they'll be like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't let black people out on cashless bail once they beat Asian women over the head with a brick, right?
That's actually works to their benefit, though, because the more people are scared and the more people are staying home, the more they want everything to turn, I think, into a cesspool. Yeah. I talk about Venezuela. My wife's Venezuelan, and I was supposed to move there back in 2003. I visited. It was beautiful. Like, I could not believe how incredibly, like, I was really tempted to move there. The people.
It was a good place to live back then.
It was amazing.
Wasn't Venezuela the second most richest, prosperous country in the world back then?
You can't imagine how, like, picture paradise, the no air conditioning needed because it was like perfect temperature all the time.
In less than 20 years.
Yeah.
It went from being the second most
I remember opening
desired.
my wife's like balcony and like parrots and toucans were flying in the air. Like it was gorgeous. Like
you're like, I'm never leaving.
Yeah, the beaches were
fast forward 10 years.
White.
Let's get the hell out of here.
And I'm talking like
it's crazy.
It was amazing because from a culture standpoint, I want to make sure people understand because people think, oh, Venezuela was a banana republic. They had their own they had their own soap operas, actors. They had their own Hollywood. Like they had their own films and everything. The colleges had people on par, if not better, than some of our people.
They were
here.
swimming in oil.
Yeah, they were. You had to fill up your car was a joke. It was 12 cents a gallon back then.
So let me ask you this: is it inevitable that we're going to wind up like that?
Well, I see the same.
We're on the same path.
I see the same echoes. I see the same playbook coming out because, like, the one thing that I witnessed with my own eyes.
Did they pull the racism thing over there?
It was more than racism because everybody's same color mostly.
They had to have pitted the rich against the poor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And like
they do that
here. Imagine like Biden coming out one day and saying, "Go to the Best Buy and steal anything you want because you deserve it."
So they can't do that there because everybody's the same color.
That sounds like the same thing that's happening in Democrat cities.
It was rich against poor, and then
which is what they did in Russia too.
Yeah, and then what happened was like all the society collapsed. Like people started stealing like crazy. Like housekeepers would steal from the people that were hiring.
That sounds like us now.
Yeah.
That sounds like San Francisco and Chicago.
They broke down the economy. They broke the education system, and now like literally, I have to send money to my mother-in-law because you got to weigh the money there. They did the same. The other thing that they did in Venezuela was they opened up the borders. And they put everybody on welfare. So as soon as you came in, you were on welfare in Venezuela. And they just printed money.
And now it's worthless.
Yeah. That sounds a whole awful lot like America.
They told me that if you walk down the street, there's money like spread out.
Because it's worthless.
Nobody wants to pick it up.
No, you need like 50 million whatever to buy a hot dog.
You weigh the money, like about that tall of money will basically buy you a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
I have to buy my mother-in-law groceries because it's just the dollar, like sending $100 for there will feed
Do they
her
use
for
the
2
American
weeks.
dollar there?
Yeah, but
that's worth money?
Yeah, because we'll go call a grocer and he wants dollars.
He wants
he doesn't want anything. So
won't be long he'll want rubles.
Yeah, we have to I hope it doesn't get out, but I basically have to send money through the banks in dollars to them and they're able to buy us groceries.
So in Venezuela they're passing around American dollars.
Yeah. There's black markets. Because, I mean, like, once you get into that, you get into silver, gold, black market. Basically, they don't want believers. Those dollars are worthless. And they, like, literally, there was moments where they said that, like, you'd walk in to a coffee shop and the price would change while you're sitting down. So if you didn't order your coffee, like, right away, now the coffee's a different price by the time you sit down at a table.
Wow.
It's and it's coming here. It's the same echoes.
What Chris is telling you is a worst-case scenario. And so I've first really met him. I mean, he saw me in a parking lot. We just spoke for a second, but we met at a meeting, and I heard a little bit of the story, and I thought about this is what Americans need to hear. This is not inevitable, but we're on this path. If we don't stop it, that's where we're going to end up. We've got things that they don't have in Venezuela, okay? You remember the Bill of Rights?
The
got
Second
guns.
Amendment.
Well, that's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all of these countries that are socialist, they all had guns at one point.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. The way that they got around that was they didn't go after people's guns, but if you shot like somebody breaking in your house, they'd arrest you.
Yeah.
Look at what
Which
happened
is
in St.
exactly
Louis.
happening.
They
in
discourage you from using your guns,
Yeah.
for self-defense purposes.
They
and
kind of
such.
do that here.
Yeah.
And then literally the criminal will go to jail with a bullet hole, and they'll let him go within 24 hours. And
That's
will
what they
go
do
to
here.
jail.
They
you're
let the criminals go.
screwed.
Yeah. Yep.
Look what happened to the McCloskeys. They
'Cause
just
it's a
they brought out their firearms because
It's
the
a
angry
playbook.
mob was going to threaten to kill them or burn their house down,
it's
and then
just
they
a
tried to
playbook.
prosecute them.
Yep, that's just the playbook. They're going to do the same thing.
We
here.
are exactly on the same path as Venezuela. We are about
But the
20
only-
years
like
out
I say
from
to
being-
everybody,
Yeah.
if I know how this movie ends, if we surrender, if
Look
we
at the
stand up now,
prosecutors.
we have a window. But I mean, there's only like one more election. We're only one more election away from that. Like 2024, I say it's over
that's
from
the
a
thing.
peaceful standpoint.
It doesn't seem
Yeah.
too hopeful because look at the demographic, look at college students nowadays. Look at who's going to be our future lawyers, prosecutors, judges, doctors. They're all leftist. They legitimately can't write a paper from a conservative. Even conservative kids have to pretend to be communists. These are the people that are going to be the future in all these high positions. Like the judges, the prosecutors. So it's inevitable that after this generation, Gen Z, the most pathetic generation probably ever produced in the United States, after these people are the majority and they occupy the most jobs and the most positions that are that make the decisions about our lives.
Don't
I mean-
say inevitable.
Yeah, but they.
But it is inevitable
I don't-
It feels like
because we need
If
It
you
feels like it,
surrender,
right.
but
if you
there's
surrender,
there's
yeah.
two things that I think we still have in this country as Americans. One is Christian thinking, okay, Christian beliefs. There's still a lot of strength there. That's a lot of strength.
from what, a quarter of the people that live here, maybe.
Whatever.
need many.
It's still there. It's still there. It's not gone. It was still in Russia during the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
It came back. But the big thing, what these crazy people did last year in the schools, you saw the parents fighting back with all the school board meetings.
That's the biggest reason that these nonpartisan people are going to vote conservative.
Exactly. But they're also doing something else. Homeschooling,
Yep.
private schools, charter schools. That's a way to change things.
Well, a small fraction of them are. Most people can't afford to do that.
Yep.
in
some
Venezuela.
Of those schools don't have tuition. They're government-run schools. They're
Yeah,
government-funded
What
schools.
Samir is thinking in his mind is the same thing I'm thinking. If you follow the path that Venezuela took, you can see we're taking the exact same
Same
identical
path.
path.
and it doesn't
Same
seem to be
path.
there's any end in sight.